fool, at least my friends think so.
So we're in studio having fun with the groundbreaking Lisa getting ready to come up on our interview. Lost in emotion, head to
Yeah,
toe.
yes, yes, we are. Just how you feel. Love for you. Feeling.
I'm just like the little background dancer. Let's do the worm.
Wow.
That was our cardio for the day.
All right. Still is. Don't play. It still is. Baby.
And welcome back to Style and Empowerment Chat with Laura and friends. So I am beyond super psyched to welcome groundbreaking Latina sensational hip hop and R&B multi-platinum recording artist Lisa.
Hi, everybody. Hey.
So as we kick off Women's Month, so excited to be talking to this amazing groundbreaker within music. I mean, it always annoys me when they say month, but I'm like, hello, we are contributing and thriving every day, but
Every
you
day.
know, right. So I was really surprised to find out when I was doing my research that Lisa, you are one of 10 children.
I am. I'm the youngest
Oh,
of 10, yes.
oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Bless your mom.
I know, right? Bless her heart, rest her soul. I used to always ask her, was there any TV? I mean, was there anything else you can do? She was like, no, if I can have babies now, I would. But, that's what she loved doing. She was a mom.
Now, growing up with that many brothers and sisters, I come from a small family, so but for what I hear from people I've known and that come from bigger families,
Yeah.
either it makes you very shy and kind of like introverted because you kind of feel like you're lost in the shuffle, or with wanting to be heard and noticed, it kind of blooms your personality and makes you more like outgoing and creative. Do you feel like having that many brothers and sisters had that impact
I
on
think,
you growing up?
yeah, I think I was kind of in between. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, when I turned 13, I realized that I was um, a bit shy, but I wanted to be heard. So I needed to get out of that. So when I went into high school, I had a teacher, a vocal teacher that would always try to pull me out of that. And I thank him for that because he yanked me right out of there. But it was in the middle of my career already because I started when I was 13 with full force.
Which that's just amazing.
My,
So,
yeah.
so just quick giving a little background of who Full Force is for those who don't know. So Full Force is Paul Anthony and Bowleg Luke, right?
Me,
And
Bow-legged Lou, Paul Anthony, Baby Jerry, there's Curtis, Be Fine, and Shy.
hi. And so they were an R&B group in the 80s. You actually did a song with them,
I did a couple of
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But then they also were producers, music producers.
Yes.
They had and they had small roles in the house party movies
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, and I believe it was either Electric Boogaloo or Breaking with Ozone. I saw some kind
Yeah.
of
Yes.
pop through that,
Yeah.
and I'm taking it back. Right. And so they produced for many artists.
Mhm.
They actually produced James Brown's last studio album.
Yeah.
So now, talk to us about how you got discovered by Full Force and basically made the first steps to launching a music career at age 13, which is pretty
I
amazing.
know. Nuts. I was actually introduced to one of the guys of Cult Jam, Mike Hughes,
Okay.
at a club. A friend of mine told me, come down to this club. You know, we used to, sneak into this club all the time, the Fun House in New York. And he said, let's go there, and you got to meet this guy. They're looking for female vocalists. I said, really? Okay. Snuck out of the house, snuck into the Fun House, met Mike. He said, I hear you can sing. I said, yeah. That next night, I was uh, sneaking out of school, not going to school, and getting on the train to go to Brooklyn by myself.
Oh
And
my God.
yeah, and by the time I got into this audition, it was late. It was after dark, and I met the guys, and it went from there. They gave me the part.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, now that's a very inspiring story, but also from like a parent's perspective, you're like, oh my God, so many things could have
Yeah,
happened. And
absolutely. Oh, please! When I got home, the cops were there waiting for me. I got home, and my mother was a mess, and I got my butt whooped. Like,
now, of course,
how can
this
you put me through this? I said, I'm sorry,
right,
Mom.
and of course, this is the '80s, so it wasn't like now, but still, like a lot of things could have.
A lot of things could have happened, and listen, I had to take a chance because it's forever been in my heart to be a singer. I got my first solo when I was 6 years old in the church choir with my mom. And when I saw her tears, I was like, I have to do this. And it's forever been instilled in me that everything about me is music. So it was a chance I needed to take.
Right?
Yes.
And you need to. It's a whole different kind of street survival mindset when you're a child growing up in the inner city or an urban environment versus the suburbs.
Yeah.
Because, like, your parents are working. Like, you hope that there's the older brother or neighborhood kid that you can trust to shepherd your kid and whatnot. But, working parents, they have to be out there doing what they need to do to put the
Absolutely.
bread on the table. And oftentimes, like, it's the whole latchkey, like, well, if you're in the inner city, how you get to school is the subway.
Well, I think,
Or,
I know for a fact that I lucked out because I'm the youngest of 10. So, I mean, my mom had all of us to take care of each other. She was a single mom that raised all 10 of us by herself. So,
wow,
everything is for real. It's for real.
wow. That just takes your breath away. Your mother is a phenomenal woman. Oh
Thank
my
you.
God. So, and now, did you grow up with music in the home? And you
Oh,
mentioned that you started out in the church choir.
yeah.
But talk to us a bit about like what the landscape was for you growing up and music and the education and all that.
Yeah. Again, I was raised by a single mom, and all 10 of us. My mom, when she was young, she was born in Spain but raised in Puerto Rico. So in Puerto Rico, she was in a band herself. They call it a parranda. And during any holiday, they would go from house to house and knock on the door and sing for food. They would entertain for food. So everything was about music with my mom. And when we were coming up, whatever it was that was being done in that house was done to music. So I was raised on salsa. I was raised on Motown because my mom loved Motown, and she was in love with Smokey Robinson. So, it had to be played, you know.
Listen,
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and I think that's a great thing that when you're raised with different types of music,
Yeah.
and I was lucky in that regard too. I mean, I have my definite styles and things that I love, but from
Yeah.
a young, my parents are passionate about music and art, and even if we didn't like it, they're like, "You're gonna listen to this James Taylor, and Joan Baez is great, and she's a
Yeah.
revolution." And you're like, I'm like, "Can we listen to Madonna?" but
Every
right.
music was played in our house. We touched on everything. It was all about music.
And I talk about this a lot, but especially, we're going to talk shortly about the new genre you help create. You know, I don't really like to look at music as a category in a box
Thank you. I'm
because,
glad you said that. Thank you.
classical, jazz, rock, bluegrass, hip
Yes.
it all pairs from the same building blocks.
Thank you.
It's just how you mix the paint.
Thank you. It's all universal language for me. So didn't matter where it came from or what it sounded like. It was music.
Now, growing up, with a church foundation,
Mhm.
did your mother, once you started exploring other types of music and performing, as we'll get to, was your mother kind of like, no, oh, because I hear that from some artists who grew up heavy in the church that when they went to deviate from that as an artist, that they got a lot of pressure and stuff
Yeah.
from, you
Oh,
know,
no, not at all. My mom was all about if this is what you love, this is what you do. Doesn't matter what, this is what you'll do. She nurtured me. She just put me out there. She was always my hero in anything that I wanted to do. Never had any qualms with any style of music that I've ever wanted to do. Uh, no.
Well, that's really a great. I mean, I think it's so important when you're well, with anything that a child aspires to be, but especially in the arts, it's
Yes.
so much
Yes.
about trial and error and experimentation and finding your voice.
Yeah.
So it's so important to have people, if possible,
Yeah.
in your foundation, your circle that say, hey, try it, be free, experiment, because that's where you find your confidence.
Yep, exactly. And she was the one that was always, right there above me, hovering, saying, do it, do it, do it. My brothers and sisters, they were always like, no, you got to go to school. See, I come from a family of, there's 10 of us, 7 girls and 3 boys, and majority of them are all teachers.
Well.
One is a lawyer. So they were always, listen, you have to have something to fall back on.
Mhm.
My mom said, no, she wants to do music, leave her alone.
So now walk us through the journey here. So you're 13. Every artsy kid's dream. You get discovered by this influential production team and group, Full Force.
Mhm.
So then from there, okay, we go into the studio.
Uh,
So what that like? I'm sure that was your first time in a professional
ever.
studio.
Ever didn't know what a studio looked like, but prior to that, I mean, I used to sneak out of the house like 12 years old, right on Ninth Avenue. There used to be or still are, lots of trendy like restaurant bars that always had live bands, and I would sneak in
Mhm.
there, beg them to please let me sing with them. And they did. They allowed me to do that. So that was my training. When my mom found out that later that I was doing that, whoo, she flipped. She was like, "You crazy? You could have been killed." But it was what I wanted to do. So I had no idea what recording studio looked like, but I knew music. And my training
Mhm.
was to work with those bands, and I sang standards for those restaurants. Um, the day that they said that I went to this audition, and they kind of in a cassette, they taped me uh, singing the chorus to this little song that they wanted me to record. They were like, "Here, take this, study it, and this is the day, and this is the address. You meet us in the studio." That was the following Tuesday, and I went to this in Manhattan. It was called Unique Studios, and that night I met the rest of the guys, and they put me in there to record 2 songs, and the the very first recording that I ever did was I Wonder If I Take You Home. I
Wow.
mean, it was
And
huge.
you were so young, and it's a very adult
I had no idea.
theme.
I was like, oh, this is fun. Let's do this. And I recorded that song and Can You Feel the Beat?
Oh my
Um,
God.
Yeah, so they came to me, I think it was 2 weeks later, and was like, "Yeah, we have this very small independent label that wants to put this out on a compilation album overseas."
Wow.
It was
So you
released.
started out overseas first.
Yeah, they put it overseas on this compilation album. The name of the album was Breaking,
Yeah.
and it didn't get back to the States for about a year and a half. It took for them to bring that back. So everybody thought that we were a British group. Yeah, radio about a year and a half later started really killing it uh, here in the States, and I was working at Benetton at the time, and I remember that feeling of getting the phone call from a friend and saying turn the radio on, and it I just did, and it blasted, and it went from there. It was kind of crazy. It just took off.
Now, did when you first started and sang your first songs and whatnot, did Full Force discover kind of create Cult Jam? Uh, and
Well,
did
yeah,
And did they also did they put you in a formal contract? And did you have like your mom, your parents kind of like because also trying to give advice to parents and young kids in a similar situation.
absolutely,
Like
absolutely.
how could you just kind of talk about the behind the scenes of
Okay, yeah,
how things went and who was watching over your interests?
yeah. When I met Mike Hughes of Cult Jam,
Hmm.
um, Full Force was looking to put a three-girl group together. So when they didn't find any other girls to blend with me, Mike asked them, please let's make this a group. I have this guy, Spanado, Alex Mosley, who is an amazing musician, plays everything under the sun. And since he was a roadie for Full Force and knew, the ups and downs of everything,
Hmm.
Full Force said, yeah, sure, put us together as Lisa and Cult Jam. Um, I remember the evening that Full Force came to my house to meet my family, to meet my mom.
What a petty day that is.
Oh, was nuts. They came, all of them, all six of them, to my house, and my oldest brother, he did 3 tours in the Vietnam War.
Oh
So my
wow.
mom was like, "You need to be here," and he goes, "Yeah, okay, I'll be there. I'll make sure of it." And
Off
he
the
came,
bed, my
yeah, he came
ears.
with his fatigues. He was ready. He was set, and he stood there. And the guys walked in, and they were like, "Oh, well, what is this?" And we got to know each other that night. Well, they got to know my mom and my family,
Mhm,
and it turned out really, really good. When you have people who back you, who are, as my mom, my family,
mhm.
we're very, very close. Um, they were always there to make sure that things didn't go too wrong. They did what they could, knew what they could know about the business, and that's always hard. That's why now I tell everybody, always stick to your guns, master that craft, but have a lawyer.
Yes,
A lawyer you can trust. Rarely can you find that, but when you do, always have a lawyer. Everything needs to be in black and white.
and educate yourself.
Yes, and man, did I do that in this? I mean, started at 13. I'm not telling you my age. Nah, I'm in my 50s.
Funny.
And you learn as you go. I mean, I
Mhm.
went through a lot when it came
Yeah.
to the business part of it. It wasn't easy and it wasn't fun, but because I love still to this day what I do, it
Hmm.
was very important for me to learn everything that I know now, and I wouldn't change anything at all.
And especially nowadays with the change in the structure of record labels and A&R, and we
Yeah,
were talking about this a little bit before the break, in 2003 when everything went digital
yeah,
and all the music labels restructured and eliminated positions. And now, of course, there's all the ways where artists can basically be their own distributor.
yeah.
So it's so important learn the business.
Very,
Learn,
very important that, I mean, I think in any career, you
yeah,
really need to know the business of everything that you're doing. You need to really focus on that because that's what carries you and that's what
mhm,
keeps you safe. And
right.
yeah, and let me tell you, the entertainment business is not easy, very catty, very catty. And you can't listen to a lot of that because everybody's always trying to dib and dab in your stuff. So
Yep,
keep your eyes
yep.
open.
Yep. And especially when it comes to distribution, now artists are empowered where they don't necessarily need the labels.
Exactly.
And you can open up your own record label. You can learn how to do your own social media. You can learn how to do it all.
You see that?
And there's a lot of parallels with music and radio. I
Yes,
found the more that I've talked to more and more artists, and I think, these corporations, they want to make you feel like you need them to exist and succeed. And then they want to make you feel you have to pay them all this stuff and give them all this cut when you're the one doing the work.
exactly.
And then they sell all these things that you don't necessarily need. You just need someone to teach you how to do it.
Thank you.
And like you said, you don't want someone moving in your sauce. Like you don't want someone telling you how to be as a creative just so you have broader distribution. But
Right.
at the end of the day, with the right mentor, as you were
Yes. Yes.
saying, you can teach yourself everything.
I looked into everything. I listened. I watched. I read every contract, every piece of paper, every meeting, anything that had to do with the business. I made sure that I was there. And the day that uh, Full Force and I severed ties and
Mhm.
Coach Jam, amicably, mind you, it was just something that I needed to do.
It's
And
time to move on and have another chapter.
yeah, after so many years and so many albums, it was just something that I needed to do because I needed to spread my wings and I just wanted to tap into every style of music and create me. Okay.
Yes.
I was at that age where I just needed to fly and I got they agreed and they were like, okay, we all cried. We did. And I love them still dearly. We're still family now. And as a matter of fact, the surprise is that we're doing a reunion thing.
Oh
So
my God, that's so exciting!
yeah.
Yay! You
Yeah,
heard it
so
first
so
here.
I fortunately recently signed with Uncle Snoop's Army. So
Yeah.
Snoop Dogg is now my manager and my management company, along with Bobby D Presents and Tony Minaj.
Mhm.
And we've got a lot happening. But then when I decided to sever ties, I needed to find my own contract and place to be. I wrote everything down on yellow notebook paper. And just was yes, see
I
that.
still do things the
Like,
old school
and
way.
pencil, yeah, I
Yes,
did.
outline, bullet. Yes.
Exactly. Everything that I ever learned business wise and contractual wise, I wrote it down and everything that I wanted,
Mhm.
outlined everything. And when I finally got, the attention of the right people that I wanted to work with to do my first solo album, that
Mhm.
that contract was signed like that, yellow,
Mm.
with pencil. I signed it and I was very, I have to say,
Wow.
I was very proud of myself. I was like, you did it. You see, you grew up and you did it. And now let's go, keep going. And I thank God for that. I thank God that I had family and people that I worked with and still work with, Full Force and Cult Jam and management and all that helped me learn. They did.
Mhm. And that's empowering to others, women and aspiring artists, that you started out as basically a preteen
Yes.
and you were able, with the right nurturing and support around you, to learn the business end of the business, navigate into beneficial business situations, and at the other side was empowered to make these deals yourself.
Yeah, I got to tell you that I used to walk around daily with a big knot in my throat and in my stomach because I was so scared, so nervous, but it was so worth it because
Hmm.
again, a lot of people ask me, would you change anything that you from your past, doing this business thing. And no, I wouldn't change a damn thing, because all of that made me who I am today. And I'm really, really happy where I am in life today. In my place in life, I'm happy.
Now, you and Full Force and Cult Jam, you started a new genre of music
Mm.
called R&B freestyle.
Yeah.
Uh, so, can you as they call it. So, can you talk a bit about that? Really, what the components of that style are, and was that a conscious choice? Did you have input into the sound and the genre that you were doing, kind of blending R&B and hip hop together in your songs?
You know what's funny is, no, we didn't think about that. We just did music that we loved, and it just so happened to have that combination of
Mm,
sound, that we didn't think, oh, let's do this style or that style, let's focus on that because this is where you're. No, we didn't focus on any of that. We just went into the studio, and Full Force came up with the baddest songs. The tracks were always so dope, and put it out. And that's the thing about, I would like to say about me and my career, because a lot of people were like, where have you been, and what have you been doing?
mhm.
I haven't stopped in the
Right.
30 plus years that I've been doing this. I never stopped. I have 9 albums under my wings, and I appreciate you. Thank you. And I've been performing since, I mean, the last time we performed literally was the day before they shut everything down. In the
Mm,
States, they shut everything down in March. I remember the first week of,
yeah.
and I was supposed to go back out. I was going out every weekend. Every weekend, I had about 4 or 5 shows per weekend, and it was just nuts. It was just nuts, and I haven't stopped. I have not stopped.
So now let's just take a second and go down your arsenal of
Oh,
platinum selling hits, many of which we're playing today. So, of
thank
course, Lost in Emotion, Head to Toe, Let the Beat Hit 'em. I'm excited to talk about that after the break.
you. That was so fun.
Abby's, did you know? I mean, of course, you were successful and everything, but did you know that you were creating this kind of groundbreaking movement of music at the time, or was it just it was all just so much fun and a whirlwind that that kind of came to you after the fact?
I still don't know what the hell I'm doing. I just do what comes to heart, man. And when we decide to put a song out, I actually have to hear it and feel
Mm,
it. If I don't, if it's not, it doesn't just seep into me, I'm not going to do it. So, I mean, had no idea. I still have no idea. You
right.
know, I'm in awe that people still know the music. And when you get to these shows, they're singing the lyrics back to you. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I have no idea what's going on.
Well, it just speaks to the quality of the work.
Thank you.
So now, of course, you were the first Latina in R&B and hip hop. So, can you talk to us a bit about taking us back to the time in the 80s? And also, there weren't that many women in genre, and especially back in the 80s, it was very sexist
Oh,
in the music industry, to say the least.
I can't tell you how sexist it was. But, forgive me, y'all, but it really, really was. And uh, back then, when I started, they didn't focus on the fact that I was the only female in the group. Um, I was 13 when I started, and Latina. I didn't focus on any of that. So
Mm,
we had the group, and they just, whatever we did, they focused on the group. They never focused on it being
mm,
only being a female. But being out there, it was always so hard, to get people to look in my face when I spoke.
right.
Look at me when I speak to you. When I sing to you, I want you to look me in the face. I'm female. It was a fight, but I fought the good fight, and I'm here. And yeah, it was difficult but fun.
Mm. And
because
did you have like promoters and stuff and not take you as serious or
oh,
and not treat you the same way that they treated the male members of your group?
still to this day.
Mm.
Still to this day. And yeah, that's where them looking me in the face came in, because I remember they would just directly talk over me to my management or production or whomever, and I would, I'm short, 5 feet. I would jump up, hey, I'm right here, speak to
Like
me.
over here.
Still to this day it happens, and it's just so, oh.
And it's such a conundrum of BS double standards that, especially back in the day, for you to survive and elevate and have staying power, it forced the women either you had to be totally quiet and get walked over, or you had to be super tough and outspoken and to advocate for yourself. But then they would throw that in another form of
Oh,
sexism. They throw that back at you like, oh, she's this, she's that,
yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
yeah, a lot of that happened. But to me,
Mhm.
I always have my mom's words in my head and in my heart, keep your head up and speak your piece.
That's
And I
right.
spoke loud. And I remember being in school, still while in the business doing my teacher, my drama teacher, always used to tell me, you need to learn how to project that voice to the back of that wall, to the back of that room. It needs to hit that. So all of that training came into good use, because let me tell you, I'm loud. I'm loud.
Well, it's so important. All the messages you're sharing with us today. It's not only as equally important to articulate and project your musical voice, but your voice as a human being and a woman and an artist behind the scenes to protect your interest.
You definitely need to protect that interest. And, again, there was always a lot of people talking in the ear and trying to yank you from where you were, and in the wrong direction. And all being so young and in this industry, a lot was thrown at me. I saw,
Mhm.
I experienced a lot. And it took a lot of, you know, me remembering and listening to my mom's voice in my head, for me to say no to a lot. I had to learn to carry that word, you know,
It's so important having the self esteem and belief in yourself and patience to say
absolutely.
no and wait.
Yes, absolutely. And I chose to just simply let people know, I'm not doing that. I don't want that. Step away.
And don't make you feel guilty about it either.
I still don't feel guilty. Sorry.
Yeah, people try and head trip you when they're coming from selfish motives, but they'll try and head trip you and guilt trip you for saying no and setting boundaries. But you have to set boundaries. If
Yeah,
you don't protect yourself and pour into yourself, nobody else will, and they will suck you dry and not care.
yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad you said all those words. And I would love for everybody out there, be it male or female, young or old, listen to the words she just said. So important.
And especially, it also comes with parents. If you're lucky enough to have parents like your mother, they also play a role in that.
Absolutely.
Because huge managers and promoters, oh yeah, we're going to do this and she'll get that. Oh, and we'll be on this and that, blah, blah, blah. This is, yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, great, great. But if you don't read it, you
If you
could be co-signing a situation that is not a good choice for your child.
don't, you could be signing your life away and not know it. That's why you got to read between the lines. Dot
Hmm.
every I and cross every T, and make sure that there's always, however hard it may be to find those people that are going to be behind you 100%, find
Hmm.
those people
It's
and make
so
sure, yeah,
important.
you got to have the right group of people, a
Well,
team.
Well, we are going to take another musical break and jump through the fabulous Lisa catalog. When we come back, we're going to talk about her collaborations with Clavillis and Cole and Snoop Dogg and her new music and fashion. So keep it locked into Style and Empowerment Chat with Laura and friends. Thanks for tuning in all around the world, and we'll be back after this 80s jump into some fantastic, joyful music. Now, can you see me? Because I froze on my side.
I can see you clearly.
Oh, you can. Okay, so it's just me.
Okay.
I can hear you fine. It just froze on my side.
Well, I'm sorry.
That's all right. It's funny. We're frozen. Like on my picture, I'm
Really?
laughing, freeze frame, and then you're leaning with your mouth open, starting to say something.
You need to screenshot that. I'd like a copy.
I know. I'll screenshot it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid to like touch things with the guest stuff, like where it might like cut it off, and then I have to send you another link because you know with these things like with Zoom,
Yeah.
when you exit out, it voids the link, so then you have to create a new link, and
Yeah. Yeah. I get it.
not that
I
that's
get
a big deal, but you know.
it. This is our world today. This virtual world.
So now, fashion wise. So tell me, did you have an input in the fashion and the music videos and your imagery?
Oh, yeah. In the very beginning, I remember it was really nuts because I came from the church, so I wasn't able to wear certain things, and when they said we need to do this video, um, they showed me that outfit. I was like, what?
They're like, this is what you're wearing, get in it.
Yeah, my mom was like, shh, you be quiet. You wear that outfit. You put that on and you go. I was like, okay, but I really wanted to wear a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. I was dying to get into a pair of jeans and a t-shirt.
Now I believe was it Lost in Emotion where you
Oh,
were in the pink spandex outfit
no,
with
that
the headband?
was like, wonder if I take you home. That was the
I
very
take
first
you
one.
out. Okay, so now that was a serious 80s wave.
Yeah, let me tell you.
How many hours and how many cans of hairspray did it take to create?
I was kind of lucky because my hair is, I have very wavy hair, being a Latina.
Yes.
But there was always a can of Aquanet ready to go. So I
Yes.
didn't have any problem with that.
Yes, the 80s was all about the Aquanet, the
Right?
rain,
Yeah.
the suave, white rain.
White rain. Oh my God. Remember, what was it? Frizzies.
Yes.
Oh, there was
I
another
think
one
the
too.
men used just as much hairspray as the women did then.
Oh, man, let me tell you, I found anything and everything I needed because there was always a beauty supply place anywhere in my hood that I can go into.
And like, what was it like when you, again, at that young age, when you did your first music videos, like the first time you were on a video set? That must have been very daunting and kind of finding your legs and in front of the camera.
It was just my mom was there and she was like, just go have fun. And if you see the video, I wonder if I take him home, it was just a bunch of performance,
Hmm.
I was used to that. So I just got up there in front of everybody and the cameras and with the band, and we just performed the songs over and over again. And that was pretty much it. It was fun. It was about, and still to this day, any video or any acting gig that I get is always about expression, and I live for that. Because,
Speaking of the pink spandex,
yes, man.
I'm bringing back all the 80s news.
She's going in.
I always love about your music too is it's timeless and it can relate to anybody. It's positive. It's happy music. It's not hypersexualized. You can play it at any age group.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great when
It's family friendly while still, it's relevant to the street, to the culture, but you don't have to say hey. Like,
yeah, and nothing needs to be censored, basically. But listen, again, I was a kid growing up in the eyes of this public in the music business, and me and Full Force and Cult Jam, we just it was about expressing our growth, growing up as kids in the streets and just having fun in clubs. That's what our music was about. It's
and back in the 80s, of course, music really was in the streets, literally. Like you'd be outside with your
always
boombox or your car,
yes,
sitting out, blaring your car stereo, talking to your friends, driving around. So
dancing in the streets. Yeah,
you could just be walking around and you'd hear all this new music and stuff.
still to this day in Manhattan, you have that. You have all
Hmm.
of that, especially on Broadway, Times Square. Kids are still out there, doing the dance performances, and people are out there with their instruments singing, and it's the best. It's the best.
I remember when I interviewed Freedom Williams, he said
Uh,
very much similar thing that when he grew up in, I believe it was Bed-Stuy,
yeah,
he went to school with some of the guys from Run DMC and LL Cool J,
yeah,
and and he started out as a DJ with his mixtapes and everything.
yeah.
That he'd be on the schoolyard and he'd hear all this new music and say, "Hey, who's that? And what's that?" And it's like it fostered the foundation of not only music education but collaboration.
Yeah. Yeah, I grew up with some people. I went to Julia Richmond, and I was in the Talent Unlimited department, and there was a lot of entertainment there. It was kind of like the way the movie, oh my goodness, Fame. It was like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we would be in the streets during our lunch period. Everybody would be performing, and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. And I grew up with a lot of the actors uh, that were in the Fame movies. Great to see those people up and coming and bumping into them during our lives in this business.
Hmm.
And it means that we put our schooling to use. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's exciting when you see your peers elevate in their own ways together.
Absolutely. It's fun to bump into everybody that I went to school with. Still, a lot of them are dancers and actors. So, yeah, I bump into all of them.
So, welcome back to Style and Empowerment Chat with Laura and Friends. We have you deep in the fresh groove of Lisa Lisa. Now, Jessica James is asking on my frozen feed.
Oh,
She's wondering if we can take Lisa Lisa home.
sure.
Oh, like, well, if you download our episode and you download our music, you can.
No.
So now, of course, during the break, we were talking a little bit about growing up, having all the music around you in high school and that collaborative time of the 80s. So one of the other powerhouse producers that you collaborated with a major club banger hit, Clavillis and Cole, who, of course, um,
Yeah.
were the master producers between Black Box, CNC Music Factory,
Yeah.
so many of the house hip hop fusion artists of the 90s. So
Yeah.
you had the huge hit, Let the Beat Hit 'Em. So can you talk a bit about meeting them, working with them, and that collaboration?
We were about to embark on doing our album Straight Outta Hell's Kitchen for Columbia Records, and that was my opportunity to tell Full Force that I wanted to work with other producers, and they were
Mm.
like, "Well, let's see who would be good enough to come on board with us and has our flavor."
Mhm.
I was actually very, very good friends with Robert Clavillis for a very long time. We were actually dating, and
Oh.
I begged them. I was like, "Yo, you got to do this album," and they were like, "Yeah, we got some stuff for you." And we went in, and CNC actually did half of the album, and the other half was done by Full Force. And it was just the day that David Cole brought that track to me. We were in the studio listening to it. I said, "I have to do this. We have to do this." We went in and did it, and that was it. It just went from there. It was a great meeting, and a great collaboration, and awesome producers to work with.
And the video for that was so chic, and it was a little sexier than previous videos. So it's all, and if you're not for, go hit YouTube, okay? So it's all black and white, and then you had the wet hair going on and the
I
spinning
know.
rubers and everything. It's such a sleek, cool video.
It was fun. It was just that time where everything was being filmed in that blue film, you know.
Mhm.
And, the filter was perfect, and the attitude with the dancing and the music was perfect. That mix was perfect. So, I had seen a couple of videos that Madonna did, and we had to get the right people to do it, and we did it. We hit it with that one.
Yes, out of the park.
Thank you.
And you get, even with the video, you can, it kind of had the CNC feel to it.
Of course.
Because some of the videos of, I'm just thinking at that time, like some of CNC Music Factory's videos, and Vanessa Williams, I
Yes.
forget the name of the song, but she had this black and white video,
Mhm.
which was very similar in feel to it. And she was in some kind of tuxedo thing in one of the treatments and dancing and whatnot. There were a number of artists that were doing that
Yeah, that was
trend.
the flavor at the time.
Mhm.
When I saw Madonna's Vogue video, I say, "Oh, hey,
Oh,
we have to do this."
yes. It was amazing. And it just gave it like a glam
Yeah.
factor.
I was just having fun. I really was having fun with the choreography and the hair and makeup, because the clothes we didn't focus too much on. It was very little clothes.
Right, right,
That one
right.
piece that I had on, and then a bathing suit. It wasn't really much to wear there, but we had fun with the choreography, and I met so many people on that stage dancing. Darren Henson, who is the choreographer and is huge right now, he's all over.
How
Um,
cool. And I'm very proud that I interviewed him 3 years ago before all of his, I mean, he was already an icon, but before his resurgence
yeah.
with family business. Oh, he's
Yes.
such an amazing person. And
He's my
just know,
little brother. Yeah.
ah,
We stayed great friends, and he's got so
mhm,
many things happening right now. I wish him all the best. God bless him. But he knew exactly. We had a meeting actually, and we just talked, and he was like, "Where do you want to go with this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I would just want you to have fun because your choreography is insane. So
yeah,
you let's sit down, let's have auditions and pick the right people." He knew so many dancers already.
sure.
It was just a bunch of fun. I have to say that was the bottom line. It was about having a good time.
Yes. And that radiates, especially in performance.
Yeah,
That's so key. And connecting with your audience. If you're not having a good time, it just that vibe isn't going to be right.
I know. You have to pick the right people. And my meeting with him was the best because, I mean, we clicked like this. And him and I became like brother and sister, and we're still great friends.
Oh. So now, of course, during this past year with COVID times,
Uh,
uh, it's affected all of us in so
yeah,
many ways, and especially with performers,
yeah.
because one of the ways you reach people and also make your coin is
Oh,
touring. Hello. Yeah. Is touring. So just talk to me a little bit about just how you've been staying positive during this time, how you utilized it, and just the effect it's had on you as a creative.
Um, it's allowed me to go deep and
Hmm.
really focus a lot on me and growth.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
music today is going to be, well, I'm just saying that the day that they open the doors for us, it's going to be a big boom because we've
Hmm.
got,
Yeah.
I think I can speak for all performers that we've got so much just waiting to
Yeah.
come out because the day that they shut us down, that was it. We couldn't do anything else.
Hmm.
But thank you, virtual performances and all platforms, because we're able, and that's what we've been doing for the past year and some months now, doing virtual concerts and, just doing lots of interviews, and talking to
Hmm.
people, and I want to thank you and everybody else that's given us the platform to be able to, give ourselves to our audience again, because man, not being on a stage is killing me.
Oh yeah.
You have no idea. I truly, till this day, love what I do, and the fact that I haven't been able to go on a stage and have a live audience there.
Mhm.
Ugh,
Uh,
it's gonna come back. It's gonna
yeah.
come back.
And I mean, just from my side of the coin too. Like I was just talking about this to a girlfriend of mine on the way to the studio. Like I'm someone who thrives on music and the arts and fashion, and
Yeah.
I love all the things I do, hosting and red carpets and all that stuff. I miss that life food, that
Yeah.
spiritual food of covering the concerts and getting backstage and all the fun and seeing the creative process, uh,
Yeah.
and just being out with people where you can feel safe, and that organic energy and stimulation.
That's where you get your energy from, and your best comes out when you have that live audience there. I get it from you guys.
Yeah. Now, have you or are you planning on doing virtual concerts? I know a lot of artists are starting to move into that lane. Is that something that you have or are going to be doing?
I have done. I've
Oh,
done
you have
many.
done.
Yeah, we've been doing many for lots of different radio stations, and I've
Mhm.
done a lot of charity as well, like the Quarantunes. Um,
Mhm.
we've done those, and they've been huge. And still, we actually did the 30th anniversary of house party, and we did it
Yes,
with
at
the
the
Apollo
Apollo.
Theater. Yes, we did that, so that was all virtual for us. And I also was invited to do pass the mic.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
exciting.
we did that, and it was the very first one that was actually aired live on TV. It
Wow.
was on BET because they were doing the Soul Train Awards.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and we played immediately after that. So I mean, we
Oh, fantastic. It's hard to believe that House Party, New Jack City, and Malcolm X just came up on 30 years.
can you believe that? It's nuts.
It's,
That's
I,
all right. That's okay.
right? It's like I came up in all that time and the movement, all that culture shaped me so much as a teenager and evolving into a woman. And I came through that era. And it's just so crazy. I'm like, oh my gosh, it seems like yesterday, but it
Yeah,
wasn't.
I know, but let me tell you, so it's beautiful memories, and it's good, especially with everything that, we're going through this year and last year. It's just all in your face now, and all of that helps. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that these anniversaries are up and in your face.
Yes. Well, when everything is safe again, anytime you're doing anything in Philly or in New York, New Jersey, I'm definitely here to support. You
Thank
know, media sponsor, videography coverage, whatnot. I just want to say, uh, though not on camera on my side.
you.
uh, that I thank you for the things as an artist and a female that you had to go through, that you went through with strength and gumption and elegance, that you opened up the doors for generations of women and artists afterwards. Thank you for just the amazing infectious music, and sharing your wisdom and your feminism, and just your great messages. I support everything that you do, and I look forward to when the world opens up again safely, and there's curves dropped, that we'll have the opportunity to meet professionally in person.
Thank you so much. You were wonderful. I love your spirit. And I'd like to say to all the fans out there, just wait for us. And thank you so much for your support. And again, once those doors open, it's going to be hard. And we're
No,
so,
I say now it's gonna be lit.
yes, it's going to be lit.
Lit.
Thank you so much. Oh, and by the way, I'd like to throw out, say a shout out to Uncle Snoop's Army and Snoop Dogg and Bobby D and Tony Minaj, and just look out for the new music that'll be coming out soon. And I have a boot line coming out too, so look for that.
Oh my gosh, we'll have to come back and talk about that. Yes, and shout
Yes,
out to Snoop, shout out to Tony. And Lisa, where can everybody follow you on social media?
you can find me on IG on Real Lisa, also on Facebook. Lisa LL77, and on Twitter Lisa LL77, and if you log into Instagram, right underneath my bio is my website. So click in there and you'll find out any information you need. And you can also buy merchandise. So there you
That's
go.
right. Support.
Thank you.
So I will hit you up later on in the week with the links in the DM. It has been beyond a pleasure. Of course, you can follow me on Instagram at the Laura Mazurk. Like and follow the Style and Empowerment Chat with Laura Friends Radio page on Facebook. I hope that you all just take in the empowering and uplifting words and journey of Lisa. And we're going to jump right back in and let the beat hit them. Thank you so much, Lisa. Oh, man, we are friends
Thank
for
you, hon. Thank you so
the end.
much. God bless you.
Have a fantastic day. It's been such a pleasure.
You too. Thank you so much. Bye bye.